Welcome to this segment of Business Insight. We are here live at Smart 24 TV. I'm Doreen Kemcha. I will be taking you right through until 10 o'clock. Now, within this segment, we do have a couple of moments where we give you insight on pertinent issues within our community, on a global scene, national scene, regional scene. We have been talking about, and that has been the undertone of our conversation, we have been talking about the plight, the situational analysis of persons with disabilities. How do they go through whatever they're going through within the current? What was the past? Different attitudes. What can be done within the moment? But also we're very keen on what should be done for the future well-being of persons with disabilities in Uganda. Now, on the architecture side of it all, we do have invited an amazing guest, very insightful. He's going to give us some insight on what is happening within their department, within their profession in regards to architecture. Coming in today, we've got Mr. Jerome Stowell Olowo, who is coming in as the Vice President, Uganda Society of Architects. He's also an investigations officer and architecture with the Investigations Department, National Building Review Board. And our topic, of course, today is architecture detailing in the well-being of persons with disabilities in Uganda. Welcome, Jerome.
Thank you very much.
Quite a heavy CV there. It's investigations officer, this and this. You make us fear even before.
Yeah, the challenge is that when you mention investigation, people think it's criminal.
Yes, yes.
But there are other forms of investigation.
What are you investigating?
I investigate building-related accidents and issues concerning buildings.
And you're the right person, with a God we have called you. You'll give us insight.
Sure.
Now, I think it was more or less from the way that we used to attach stereotype, really, persons with disabilities in the past. Because I believe to have a look at what is currently there, you must be able to look at it from the context of the past.
Yeah.
In most cases, it was rather an exclusive affair. It was never really anything to look at. But now we have more inclusivity, and we do have, of course, the architectural profession on board in regards to this.
Yeah.
How has it been so far, especially coming in from the past, and in regards to the legislation that is there are actually standards pertaining this?
Yeah.
How is it? Just give us a hint on how it is at the moment.
Thank you very much, Doreen. You know, previously, architecture was, like in Ugandan context, it was zeroed down to individual homes, and it was indigenous architecture. So if there was no PWDs, persons with disabilities in your home, there was no need actually. People didn't see the need to design for that. And further, there were no regulations, there were no laws or legislations to guide on that. And then so we built our bandas, our huts, and we lived in them. It was more on ground, so there was really no hindrances, no exclusion for the people with disabilities. And we lived as a community. We helped each other within that. I personally have a disabled sister, big sister, so it was okay.
Is it mobility challenges?
Yeah, mobility challenges, yes.
Okay. Yes. So this is when we get to look at the fact that we tend to only look at ourselves. Oh, can I get up there on the third floor? That is okay. Yes, I can. Yeah. Can you get there? Oh, yes, we can. Yeah. We never take into context the fact that someone else with a mobility challenge may actually have to go through all this encumbrance to get up to that third floor that we so easily get up to. Yeah. But there is legislation right now. Why is it that there are a couple of facilities coming up and not really putting that, being very, very mindful? We do understand the part about the medical facilities having this because most of the people are already patients, they are weak. So it makes sense to wheel in someone because they are sick. But we are also looking more and more at different buildings that do not have this sort of consideration. And yet you have the building control accessibility standards here. So who comes up with all these architecture drawings?
We architects. We need to first understand that an architect is the first person people reach out to when they want a design of a building and be able to put up a facility. Therefore, architects should be able to guide the people on all-inclusive design. Now, the issue normally comes in is that most of the public buildings were not having these things considered for one reason or another, but basically because maybe then there were no legislations pertaining to that. However, international standards, globalization, which involves movement of people from rural to urban, we have seen legislation whereby we are considering our people. We are no longer saying, if I'm okay, and then I assume everybody else is okay.
Yeah.
So we are beginning to think about other people. Because beyond you, there are other people, and the relationship involves more than one person. So, like I said before, my sister has mobility challenges, and one day she visited me in Kampala here, and I was trying to take her to the old park to go back home, and not only buildings actually.
Yes, yes.
That mobility.
Yes.
At home. So, moving from the upper level to the lower, to the park down here was a challenge. And I'm the last born, she's the big sister. I was trying to help her down, and it was so difficult. And that rang a bell in my mind that beyond myself, I should consider other people, because you don't know. But also, we are growing old.
Yeah.
And when we grow old, there are mobility issues. And we shall need that. I know of a family that had their master bedroom upstairs.
Yes.
And we normally say in homes, no, we're okay, we don't care about that. But now they are living in the visitors room because of age.
Sorry.
You know, arthritis?
Yes, it brings quite a lot of hardness in the knees, yes.
Getting back, now they've abandoned their palace upstairs. They are living down. So we should think about this thing like, if it is not us, probably one day we shall end there.
Yes.
And beyond mobility, we have other challenges, human challenges, visual, hearing, and all this. So we need to be able to incorporate them in our design. And there are multiple ways you can do that. Probably as you guide the conversation, we shall be able to break down. Yes.
Definitely. Has it? I believe through that moment that you went through with difficulty, because that would mean if you're getting down, you can't go down through the stairs unless you're carrying your sister. That means you'd have to go around around to where the cars actually enter. But then, as I had this conversation last week, I believe Thursday, last week at the close of last week, with one of the mothers to a child with cerebral palsy, and she talked about how difficult it was for her to get into a taxi. Over and over, she would actually be rejected by the different taxis that were there, because they just thought about it was such a big hassle to get into that. And then I thought to myself, I said, oh yes, by the way, these taxis, even if you have a wheelchair, you can't get there.
You can't.
You know, they have to first lift you, you have to prop yourself, and meanwhile, yes, you prop yourself, and everyone is looking at you, by the way, others are trying not to look at you, others are looking at the wheelchairs. Then the conductor has to get it and then put the wheelchair, fold it up on the top or behind. You know, I thought to myself, same thing with the buses when you're traveling. It is so uncomfortable. It is so uncomfortable for these persons. Not only do you have the challenge of getting the wheelchair, yes, if you have, yes, a little bit of lameness in one leg, yes, you can prop yourself up with crutches. But we're talking about the one that actually uses the wheelchair. We're not even getting right now into the visually impaired or those ones with hearing aid who are still able to go in and out because of. But we're talking about that mobility. How difficult it is, really. When we get to know and understand the complexities that come right now, what is this particular building control accessibility standards for persons with disabilities code saying? Just a recap, the overview, because this is recent, 2019.
This is recent. However, there's a PWD Act, which was 2006.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is just operationalized that. Before this, there was a legislation, there's an Act 2006. Okay. But with this, it emphasizes, one, accessibility, access points. They should be clearly demarcated, lit up with signages showing that this is the entrance point, to enable people with challenges be able to identify these paths. And then the pathways should be wide enough
Yes.
to be able to allow these people to move in and out easily. The design should not be so complex whereby it's a maze. You're trying to discover as you move.
It should be clear,
It should
very
be clear
simple.
and no obstacles on the way, and you are able to move from one point to another. There are signages, you know, there's what they call braille
Yes, the braille.
in the braille. That is writings for people with what?
Who are
Blinds,
visually impaired.
and that will also help. Then even how you treat the surface of the passageways.
Yeah.
Texture that will help. You know that a walking stick, since someone is able to detect signals, this is a change of direction and all this. Even direction for emergency,
Yeah.
it emphasizes. Emergency exits, lift ways, going to the lift, and more to that, the restrooms. How do we-
Very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
Yes. How do we make it comfortable for these people? The width of the door, it emphasizes.
1.2.
1.2.
Yes, global.
You are able to go in, turn without anything. The width of their cubicle, it should be 1.9 minimum,
Yeah.
so that they are able to maneuver within there. Grab rails for the toilet.
Yes.
The type of toilet you are using, it emphasizes round at the front. To be able you're
To
able
push, maneuver the chair.
Yes. Then the height of the vanity top, the wash hand basin, it talks about 800 from the floor.
Yeah.
It's quite specific, trying to help us be able to design something that fits for all, inclusivity generally.
Yes.
Then you talk about the way the tap operates. There could be a lever, the other means, there could be sensors with the technology now. It all emphasizes that. Now, it is incumbent upon the architect to be able to ensure that all these things are considered in the building so that we are able to have everyone able to use our buildings. And it eventually helps us to be able to eliminate what I think you're going to talk about is mental,
The distress, the trauma.
Yeah, the trauma, the stress with going into a building. Imagine how the test with which my sister went back after experiencing that.
Yes.
It's right now, if she wants to come to my home, she tells me,
Should think about it twice.
Good enough now I drive. She says, pick me.
Yeah.
Even if I send her transport, I say, come, she's very hesitant to come. So because all that came from that experience. So the standard and the act actually emphasizes all those things that will enable these people to comfortably operate within a building, right from the parking.
Yeah.
He talks about the parking.
Yes. I didn't, but some Ugandans really can be very unfair. You know, I realize some of these things you just see them, but it never hits you because you're not looking at it from the informed point of view. But now that I have been having these conversations, it totally changes. From your perspective, you're able to incorporate and integrate and be very quick to think about some of these things because your sister, you already have someone close to you who is in that position. But now imagine coming in from the very uninformed point of view, and this is why we give it to all our viewers there, so that they're able to get a different perspective and find out. Imagine getting into those washrooms, very uncomfortable. Not only are they normally located in places that that are a little bit off. Yes?
Yeah.
Now you imagine getting in, of course there is the male side, there is the female side. You're visually impaired.
Yeah.
How do you know that this is the male side? You're going to need help, which help is difficult in the washrooms to get. That means at all times you're going to be dependent on someone to do that. But talking about rights, the standards are all there. I get to know that right now the elevators 1.2, I think the doors 1.2 to allow the wheelchair to get in quite well.
turning.
Yes, and also the turning. When it comes to the washrooms, the restrooms, they must have that space around so that the wheelchair can be able to navigate, and then the grab as well to be. Now, this is what I'm very particular about, because the moment I got to know those, I realized, oh, there is this building that has that. Yes, I can now begin to cite the buildings. Some of the government buildings have that. And then you get to realize also some of the other buildings that don't have.
True.
In the event that this happens, how does the person right there, what right do they have to say we need a little bit more privacy? How can it be incorporated from the architectural point of view?
There's what we call retrofitting. Fitting afterwards.
Repeat that?
Retrofitting.
Oh, retrofitting.
Yes.
Yes.
If a building, for example, this one, sorry, I don't know, I've not gone around.
You will
I'm not
take you
accusing
through.
But like, for
We'll
example,
take
if
you
a building like this
Yes.
does not cater for that, there's a possibility of doing that.
Okay.
You get a consultant, and then you're able to go through what you have and propose a redesign with inclusivity. And then you're able to fit that into place so that everyone is taken care of. For people with visual challenges, technology has helped us.
Yes.
Yeah, technology has helped us. There are audio signages now.
Yes.
And some people have gone as far as robotic approach.
Yes.
Yeah, because robots, whether you're naked before a robot, you will not feel bad unless it's transmitting your pictures.
Yeah,
so
unfortunately.
the guides which are non-human to guide people. But more to beyond, before we get to that level, the building should be able to enable you with all your challenges to use it without any challenges, and that can be done.
We will get further into how these intricate details here, especially those from the future, can be incorporated, especially in our architectural detailing within Uganda. But for now, we are still stuck on the current.
Yeah.
And it is on the current that we are looking at within Uganda, whether it is walking down Kampala Road, whether it is accessing some of these buildings, we are still in the current. But before we get into the future, let's take a short break, and we will be right back after this message.
Smart 24, driving business.
3 inspired souls brought together by love are set on a life-changing journey.
This is your life, Mackenzie. This is no longer a dream.
It's just something about Mackenzie.
I'll never marry you.
Your position does not allow you to break work relationship rules.
Where choices change everything. Crossroads, weekdays at 8 p.m. on Power Magic Prime. DSTV channel 148, GoTV channel 303.
Are you a female business owner in Uganda looking to grow and transform your business? Grow empowers you with access to entrepreneur services, accelerating your business growth from micro to small and from small to medium enterprises. Grow provides comprehensive support, including training, startup tools, business formalization, certification, networking opportunities, access to affordable credit and grants, coaching, and mentorship, with all resources available for free. For more information, please visit grow.go.ug Contact the PSFU Grow officers at Trust Towers, ground floor, plot 4 Chadondo Road, Nakasero, or the Ministry of Gender at plot 2 George Street, Simba Manyo House, 3rd floor. Call us at +256 394 514 071. This message is brought to you by the Grow Project, a Government of Uganda project implemented by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and PSFU, funded by the World Bank. Grow, generating growth opportunities and productivity for women enterprises.
Uganda fire! Uganda! Thank you for showing your fire! Has Nambole Stadium opened its doors once again? While you were moving in wet, you were the 12th player when Uganda Cranes needed you the most. Through our famous wins against Tubakunda and our unlucky losses, you stood firm, supporting even louder. Now, as Uganda Cranes take on South Africa and Congo this September, South Sudan in October, and play our second legs against South Africa and Congo in November, bring even more fire! Because with your support, Uganda Cranes is unstoppable! Uganda fire! Proudly brought to you by MTN, the #1 supporter of Uganda Cranes. Together, we are unstoppable.
Cooking oil like no other makes your meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda, yeah, the taste of Uganda, the taste.
Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome back from the break. We are still having lots of conversation behind off camera here, and we are still here with Mr. Jerome Stowell Olowo, who is the vice. That one I can't pronounce. And this is Stowell Olowo, who is the vice president, Uganda Society of Architects. He's also an investigations officer at architecture with the investigations department at the National Building Review Board. Now remember, our topic is still architecture detailing in the well-being of persons with disabilities in Uganda. This last name of yours that you insist on being there on your long name, this, how Doreen. Is it said? Doreen is easy.
Luani.
Jasilwani.
Yes.
Jasilwani.
Yeah, it means the blessed one.
The blessed one. And it is with such detailing, the detailing in the name, that we transition and move into the architectural detailing as well.
Yes.
Now, you had preempted us a little bit when we started off, because you dived straight into the future, into whatever was happening in the future, in future places. We want to look at the current. What onus is on the professional body right now to insist on more architectural detailing for PWDs in Uganda? I think what we would want as Smart 24 TV is more advocacy, is more inclusivity, especially for persons with disabilities, especially in the amenities, in the facilities. We wouldn't want it to be pretext on the basis of, this is the money I have, put up Bajakwesobola sort of mentality, which is so uncomfortable. What is the onus right now on the architectural professional body?
One, legal is incumbent upon every architect to comply or design following the frameworks which are there. The PWD Act 2006, the Accessibility Standard 2019, all these emphasize things that must be on a building. And it's not optional. We cannot say, let's opt.
It can be there or it can't.
Or cannot be there.
It has to be.
It has to be there. And every architect designing is literally supposed to follow the standards, follow the laws. So you find that sometimes you have fear with costs. But some of these things may appear expensive at the onstart, but long term, it's actually sustainable, it's actually cheap. But also, I will give you another scenario. There are people, I have my friends who are legal aid for people with disabilities. They once actually contacted me and they wanted us to identify buildings that are not sensitive to people with challenges. And they were going to take legal actions against
them.
Yeah. So you may think you are dodging something, but advocacy teams like that, fighting for people with challenges in life, different challenges in life, may come after you. And the law is clear. So when your building is found to be lacking, then you might lose lots of money in the legal battles. But also, I come from a regulatory body, that is National Building Review Board. Now, we work with professional bodies like architects, encouraging them to be able to consider these issues in their design. It is a law. It's not an option. It's a law, at least for buildings that are accessible to the public. Now, the challenges we have is apartments. People still think apartments are private.
Yes.
Yet they are building it for the public. They say it's a residential. Yes, residential for who?
Yes.
Now, can you imagine, Doreen, you come, you have challenges, and you want to live on 4th floor, and I tell you, no, you can only live on
the first floor. Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
You can actually sue.
Yes,
you can sue.
Yeah, that's why we are saying
it's legal.
It's legal. It's in the law, and you're opening yourself to legal charges, which you may not want to go there thinking that you are navigating that. Secondly, or last, is the local authorities who help us in issuing of permits. You know, you have gone to a consultant, they have developed design, their drawings, you have to submit them to the local authorities, like KCCA in Kampala. So this body is supposed to scrutinize the designs you've presented to them and ensure that these are taken care of, because it's in the law, because they use the law. So that these things are considered for every building. So if you are given a permit basing on a design which has consideration for PWDs, and then you go ahead and build without. Now, a body like where I work, National Building Review Board, we have monitoring. We go around and monitor. That is able to identify buildings that are compliant with the Act 2013, Building Control Act 2013. So if you are found non-compliant, then we can take you on. The body takes you on, and you're going to lose money. You might even lose your professional reputation. And nobody will want to hire you as an architect, as an engineer, when they know your output
is totally different.
Different from what the law requires. And you're exposing the developer to legal actions against them. So I plead with every stakeholder of the building, starting with my body, that is the architectural fraternity, that let's have inclusive design. And that's what the global agenda is right now. Having gone through this and consider all these things, that every building should be able to accommodate all kinds of people. There are people who are not necessarily disabled, but they're short. You're taller than
Yeah, dwarfism.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The one time we went to a place, I think in somewhere, I don't want to mention that,
Yeah.
but I needed aid to be able to reach the urinal. I think
Yes.
the people there were tall, so for them, they did not think about the shorter.
Even for you?
For me,
But
yes.
you average height.
Average height 1.5, 1.6, but I was unable to reach there. You know how you stand on your toes
Yes.
to be able to reach the urinal? Such things. Let's avoid that. It can be very uncomfortable for the users. So
you do have your monitoring unit.
yes.
Right? What happens when you do get these errant buildings? What happens?
Yeah. The law provides we can take legal actions against them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you often do?
We do. And first, we you know, you don't pull the
trigger immediately.
Yes. So we start by stopping the building operation through the local authorities, because that is their mandate, and then asking the developers to take care of these things.
Yeah.
Now, if all those fail, then we go to the highest of taking legal actions against them. And trust me, Doreen, things are changing very, very fast.
Very, very quickly.
Very, very quickly.
Give us a hint on what you know about what is changing.
What is changing right now, you'll find that every public building, especially those for organizations, government,
Yeah.
if you go to the ones which are being done now,
The latest ones.
the latest ones currently being constructed, you'll find that if not 100%, over 80% of them
Are compliant
with that.
Yes,
And that is
yes.
a good sign, because we are now seeing changes from no consideration to at least up to 80 or
Yeah.
so consideration.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now that I got that little bit of info into that, indeed, I was able to go through like a flashback into the buildings that I've gone to. I said, this building is compliant, yes? And then I said, this other one here still has challenges. The old buildings actually have challenges. You can't pull them down, definitely, but you do have ways in which the architectural drawings can be tweaked to add that component of inclusivity into that. Do you think that is going to happen within the government buildings?
It is.
It can happen only if the voices are increased, if the advocacy is strong, not only just from the part of the PWDs, but and the different interest groups, the civil societies, but also from your part as a professional leader.
That is from our part. We need to join the advocacy group.
Yeah.
Because if the building is already existing, we have little or almost no say over it as architects. But as the fraternity, we can be able to run that drive. We should be able to run that drive.
Yes.
And that also helps us to show our relevance to the community, to the nation.
Yeah.
We should be able to run that drive and encourage people with, they may not be, all may give a wrong connotation, buildings that were built in the past. Way back. And they are still functioning, they are still okay, however they lack the components
of inclusivity.
Inclusivity.
Yes.
We should be able to encourage people, the people we interact with, since often we interact with the developers as architects. When we go to their places, when we meet with them, we should be able to encourage them to retrofit the existing buildings to take care of these people. And it has benefits. It has benefits. So we should be able to encourage.
And I wish on that very same thought of passion and advocacy This is more like a newfound direction, right?
Exactly.
We are hoping that we would be able to sustain it here and keep pushing you to be able to do that. Now, let me just give you just a little bit of a hint onto this. In Uganda, an estimated 12% of the population has a disability, yet 22 of unemployed Ugandans have a disability. Research also indicates that most of the persons with disabilities have less opportunities for access to things such as employment and health, particularly in economies dominated by subsistence farming, as well as different facilities that are also dominated by exclusivity. Now, whereas there has been an increase in that, what can be done by, you see, when it comes to PWDs, they come more or less from a history of submission, a history of keep silent, a history of let's hide you, a history of you are irrelevant, do not show your face. But of course, this has been changing, the narrative has been changing. You have more and more advocacy, inclusiveness, as well as participation of persons with disabilities. They are now a formidable group. However, you still have the mindset. You know, a mindset is difficult to turn. You can get the person out of the other situation, but you cannot get the situation out of the person.
So you get them out of the village, but you can't remove them.
I did not want to use that.
I came from the village, don't worry.
I did not want to use that because you have very many Ugandans going back in the village and moving away from the urban centers, so it doesn't seem to apply right now. You do have the charity aspect still in, and the submissiveness, the silent voices of persons with disabilities. How can we encourage them, especially coming from your side? How can they be encouraged to really rally up and advocate for their rights, advocate for a recognition of their right to inclusive facilities? What can they do? Just give me 3 cores that you feel they can really do, especially when it comes to you, because sometimes they feel like it is not in their power to say anything about the facilities.
It's been a challenge, like you put it. However, the government policies now give everyone space. Now, one, they should be able to come up, unite. That is one. Collective voice makes sense in this nation or elsewhere, because democracy reigns. The majority do that. Like I told you earlier, legal aid for people with disability, these are my friends. They are people with their physical challenges, and they've come together as lawyers, and they have their organization, and they are able to push things, and they've achieved a lot of things. Now, next to that is their ability to partner with people like us, with professionals like us, so that the voice is not seen only from them, but if other people are also talking about it,
add their voices to theirs.
Adding their voices, then it becomes an issue. Let me tell you, Doreen, if there's a problem that affects everybody, and everybody keeps quiet, nothing will be done. If one voice speaks, it will be ignored. But if 2, 3 voices begin to speak about that stuff, attention is drawn. Now, if it comes from multiple groups, it becomes an issue, and it shall be addressed. So partnering with other groups of people is very important to be able to achieve that. And then probably the third one is that
the legalities.
We have the legal framework in place. Let it operate.
Let it operate.
Yes. Let it bite if we're necessary. And that in those 3 ways we shall be able to achieve their, we call it liberation.
It's not liberation. They are not caged. They are not caged. They are not caged. However, when it comes, of course, to, we cannot call it liberation, really. We want a promotion. Of their rights, a recognition of their rights, as well as, of course, upholding the law when it comes to persons with disabilities. Now, just give us a sneak peek into what is exciting out there. You had just made a little bit of a hint earlier on in the first half of this. We would want to hear what is new when it comes to architecture, especially in regards to facilities and the rest of the innovations that are out there. Recently, there was a call, I will not mention names, but there was a call for innovations from persons with disabilities in regards to their, to their context and what more can be done. You're getting to see more and more tailor-made facilities. You're looking at more inclusivity. You're looking at more sensitivity to their plight. What is coming from your end? What is exciting that end?
In those days, I don't know how far back you go. And I don't want to ask.
It does not matter.
Yeah, but
it doesn't.
Those days, if you wanted to call someone,
yes,
you went to post office, right?
Yes.
There was a booth like this, and you made calls. Now,
you have the gadgets.
Here.
Yeah.
So what am I talking about? Technology.
Technology.
Technology has come to enhance and make our life simple. And globally, people are talking about efficiency, green building. They are talking about smart
buildings.
Can you imagine, Doreen, you command your tea brewer or coffee brewer
yes,
on your way home?
Alexa, make the coffee.
Yeah, Alexa, make the coffee.
Yes, and you find it.
You find hot coffee there. These things incorporated in our day-to-day life and geared to people with persons with what?
Disabilities.
Disabilities. It can help a lot. You know, we are living in a period where we're suffering from time. So everyone says, I don't have time.
A shortage of time.
Shortage of time. So finding someone to help, I find it difficult to find someone to help my mom in the village because there's whatever. But the future gives us technological innovations that can be able to help these people. Smart building. You go into a building welcomes you. Voice prompts.
Yes.
You would like to go here, turn left, turn right. There are light signals that are able to guide you. There are signages, there are surfaces whereby someone who's visually impaired can read information. The other term we said was what?
Braille.
Braille. Braille signages that are able to be read by these people. There are ramps that is able to, that you enable someone to go heights without necessarily being pushed by someone. It should have the right gradient that goes without saying, because if it is so steep, the person will
go backwards.
Will roll back down. But that the law takes care of. The specifications are there. We have those ramps. We have the lifts. Originally, lifts were not considered or made purposely for that, but now we've incorporated that into the design to help people with that. Make life simple. You know,
it's not the regular lift apart from the 0.9 distance. Yes, that I think I remember was a global standard. Yes. What else can be inside? Do you need anything else within the elevator?
Like rails, most lifts have rails.
Oh yes.
Grab rails. There are voice prompts.
Yeah.
You have seen, you are on floor this.
Yes, yes. Oh, that is, it is intentional.
Yes, intentional.
What we take for granted, is actually it's a lifesaver for another person with an impediment, with a challenge. Oh.
Imagine you can't see to press the number. Now you can have voice commands in a lift and say, floor this.
Yeah.
Then you reach there, it tells you, floor this, lift door opening.
Yeah.
Then you get out. Now, once you step out, there should be another system.
Prompting.
Yeah, prompting. That helps you
get to know where to go, left or right.
Left or right.
Oh, yes.
Yes. There are buildings now that have like a control board on the reception.
Yeah.
Once you enter there, you log in
Where you want to
where
go.
you want to go. And if you have some challenges, they prompt that aid.
Yeah.
Now, wherever you go, it will help you that whether it's you're visually impaired or you have hearing problems, all that has been taken care of that. Now, in conferences, we have hearing aids that have been installed in buildings.
Yes, yes.
That all is to help us, and that's what the future offers us now.
And some of them currently, right now, it's being really integrated into futuristic technology. Things that you're talking about right now. It is only when you measure these things from the informed point of view that it makes sense. This is the part that hits me the most, you know, that we have been in these elevators and it will tell you door opening and you take it for granted because you know, of course, the door is opening. But when you step into the shoes of the visually impaired person, that is when it hits you the most. And then you say, oh, this is really, really, what else should be done? What else should be in place? And this is why it's very important to have this increased advocacy for this, because it is so uncomfortable in Uganda. It is so uncomfortable. We are going to take this for the next couple of conversations until something is totally is done. Just in 1 minute or two, given that you are vice president, yes, of this architectural society, and given that you come in the boots of threatening investigative investigative officer, yes, I would want you to look right into the camera and talk and really rally the profession to be compliant, yes, and also the others as well to be very sensitive, I guess, because you just don't know how impactful this could be. I just want you to take 1 or 2 words and mention.
Dear Ugandans, brothers, sisters, parents, religious leaders, by the way, I'm a church person. So
that does not exonerate you from non-compliance at any one time. You have, you try.
That gives me a platform to advocate the more.
Yes, which is, please take it on.
So I implore you, Ugandans, I beseech you to use Bible language, that we consider these things. You may not be physically challenged or having some disabilities now, but you don't know what the future holds. I want to appeal to you from that angle. You may just be walking down the street and you're hit by a border, and then you lose certain abilities. This is when it will hit you and you will wish you had advocated and done these things to enable inclusivity in this. Remember, we are all growing old, and if that's not so, at least we know somebody with a disability or a challenge that needs to have services from all these facilities, from these buildings. So this could be your brother, this could be your in-law, this could be your parent, this could be a friend having challenges. Therefore, this is not far from us. Let's not bury ourselves, our heads in sand and say, since I'm okay, you assume everybody is okay. At least we have the legal framework that will back us. And I would like to request you that in case you see a building that is not compliant, please reach out to a body like National Building Review Board. Reach out to a body like Uganda Society of Architects. Be a whistleblower. Trust me, the whistleblower protection covers you. You will not be mentioned, but you will have changed or made somebody happy and prevented them from having mental distress just because they cannot go to 3rd floor and they need to have services up there, or they need somebody to carry them who will not always be there. Please, 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 be on the look. The law covers you. Be a whistleblower. advocate for these things. Join me. Doreen has recruited me now. Join me, join me, join me. We shall be able to have an inclusive society. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Indeed, just like he has mentioned, I am still recruiting as many as possible. Please join us here on Smart 24 TV as we take this voice. We take this voice to a different notch. We need to advocate further. We need these voices heard. But let me just leave you on this note. The Disability Status Report Uganda, which was released in 2019, stated that despite the recognition of disability as a development issue, persons with disabilities are among the most neglected groups in Uganda in any policy domain, as well as in the private sphere. We have been talking about the architectural detailing when it comes to persons with disabilities, when it comes to their well-being, what can be done. Things that we take for granted on a daily, me and you, actually make quite a lot of sense to these persons. Please, let's be very sensitive, let's be mindful, and let's do our parts in this. We have had Stowell Jerome Alo, Jasilwanyi, and that's quite a mouthful. We started off when I couldn't even pronounce it, but good enough, you have such a long name, you have other alternatives that can be said. But Stowell is the Vice President, Uganda Society of Architects, as well as an investigations officer with the Investigations Department, National Building Review Board. He has been giving us insight on the architectural detailing in the well-being of persons with disabilities. Thank you so much, Stowell, for joining us. We look forward. Can you please get as many more to join us so that this plight can be eased and addressed?
During I have an army from
Yes.
National Building Review Board.
Exactly, and this is where we want. This is as well Smart 24 TV and the Army on one accord. Thank you so much for joining us. Join us again, same time on Smart Means Business from 7 a.m. And then we will have, of course, the Business Insight from 9 to 10 tomorrow, where we will have the Commissioner from the Ministry of Gender join us to give us an overview of especially when it comes to employment of persons with disabilities. Join us between 9 a.m. and 10 tomorrow as we get inside. Until then, have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.